What's up, y'all? Sparty here, and I want to do a quick video detailing the things that I value in a smartphone. Now, I don't know whether to say these are the things that build the perfect smartphone for me. I just think personally that these are the essentials that will make me stick with a smartphone for a very long time. Now, number one is great software optimization. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things that go into that. You obviously need to have, great hardware to back that up. But a lot of the times, you could have amazing hardware, but still have the issue of having bad software optimization. For example, the LG G Flex 2, while it was, marred by the simple fact that it used the Snapdragon 810 processor, the 2015 flagship processor from Qualcomm. It also didn't have the best software optimization, and while a lot of people can blame that on the Snapdragon 810 not being the best processor for the time, I'm sorry, I keep putting my fucking palm on my S7. I've been recording with it and it's hot as shit. So I'm just making sure it'll be okay, But there's a lot of things that go into, software optimization. Software optimization can help, make battery life better. It can make, the overall user experience better when it comes to the tightness of scrolling through Facebook and stuff like that, which also goes in hand with the app developers themselves. But it also depends on how much the OEM favors the fluidity of the user experience over just how the phone looks and how the user interface looks, which is what, as much as Samsung has evolved over the years and how much their user interface has changed and looks way better, there are some things that you can say still that Samsung hasn't figured out and hasn't polished out quite yet. And that's overall just, typical Samsung TouchWiz. I got it. Hold on. Let me do one thing. Okay, but as I was saying, Samsung tends to not iron out their typical Samsung jank, I guess you can say. The TouchWiz jank, which I know there's stuff is called Samsung Experience now, but people will always call it TouchWiz. They will never get over that. And while Samsung is trying to move away from, the legacy that TouchWiz has brought to every Samsung phone that TouchWiz has been on since the Windows Mobile days, it's not that easy to get away from. And they best believe that it's not going to be so easy. But as far as that goes, software optimization is number one for me, honestly, because if you don't have that on your smartphone, if your phone isn't optimized, no matter how sexy, no matter how sleek, no matter how beautiful the phone is, crappy software will always make a beautiful phone feel terrible and be terrible to use, and honestly not look as great in your eyes. I'm not saying the S7 does that now. It obviously doesn't do that now anymore. Whereas with my very first review of the S7, it had the issue of just terrible optimization. And after being able to update, Nougat has fixed that. And honestly, I'm happy for that because I like this phone quite a bit now. Now, another thing that I value in a smartphone is, as many features as you can pack into the phone, not just software, as you can. If you can pack, a removable battery in a phone, do that. If you can pack dual cameras in a phone, do that. Fingerprint in the screen, do that. If you can do all of that, cool. And that also ties in with the software optimization thing as well. So long as it's optimized to fit with the software well, I don't care. But the perfect smartphone to me isn't always just, it needs to look good. It needs to be built well. I need to not hear creaks when I press down on excuse my language, but when I press down on the back of the phone. Despite this having, a removable battery, I don't hear any creaks. And LG has always been great about that, where Samsung's, with the S3 and the S4 and even the S5, you would hear and feel creaks when you press down on it. And that didn't feel premium at all, especially for a $600 phone at the time. Now, hell, even the Note 3 had that problem with me. And I got over it because I liked the phone so much, but it's whatever. Another thing, when I say that it has to have as many features, and this is going to come from both camps when it comes to Samsung and LG. The one thing I want every OEM to have in their phone is manual video controls that allow you to control everything. Everything. From, if you want your voice to be anything around you, the noise around you to be, prioritized over whatever is in the foreground and stuff like that. It's stuff like that, little things like that make LG's camera software more, better to use for me, because it's less of it just being simple and more of it just being, stuff that I can tweak, more stuff that I can do to make this phone be tailored to my experience. Now, another thing, Samsung. One thing I got to commemorate them on is being able to change the screen resolution. If you want more battery, you could just honestly just go to 1920 by 1080 or even 720p. I personally stay on Quad HD. I haven't had any problems, but that is something every manufacturer should have. And I mean that, because that is a very useful feature. Say if you're on the go and you need to save a bit of battery, just do that and you'll have battery life for a while, for quite a bit more time than what you would have it, than how long you would have it on any other case when you still use the Quad HD resolution. Another thing that all three of these phones have: an always-on display. Now, whether it be the secondary ticker display of the V series or just straight up on the screen, like on the G6 and the S7 here, and even the G5, this is a feature every phone should have. Not that ambient display stuff, because I want to be able, it feels so reassuring to not need an LED notification light. Now, I don't hate LED notification lights at all, but the sheer fact that I can count on this to give me every single piece of information I need when it comes to what apps I have that are giving me notifications, how much battery I have left, and stuff like that, that's useful to me. And while I don't hate LED notification lights, They're great. I believe every OEM should at least have the option of having an always on display of some kind. Even you, Apple. And even you, Google. Now, another thing that every phone obviously has to have is a great camera. But with that comes two things. They have to have, again, software optimization to match and, good enough software to take advantage of that hardware. Now, I don't have Huawei phones, not because I don't like them, strictly because I don't have them. I do want one. But Huawei is one of the examples I want to use that uses the dual camera setup on their phones to, maximize what you can do with it. LG does it to an extent. The only issue is that they're two separate sensors. So, they can't really work in tandem when it comes to blurring the background out and all that fancy stuff that, the the iPhone 7 Plus can do and any Huawei phones can do when it comes to, background blurring and that portrait mode stuff. It can't do that, but it's whatever. It's not nothing that I'm mad about because the bokeh on these phones, all three of these phones are good enough for me. I don't need that super, super blurry, super, super duper creamy bokeh. I don't care about that. So long as stuff is blurred out in the background and it looks nice and it doesn't look too artificial, I can deal with it. Another thing for me is the IR blaster. That's something that one of the few things that I need in a phone because it's just convenient for me, especially at work when I have to test out TVs and stuff like that, and I can't find the remote because the remote may be lost. I just use this and it works very well. Another obvious thing is a very good headphone jack, or just audio output out of headphones in general. This is the phone to beat when it comes to headphone output. But and even the Korean G6. Those are the phones to beat when it comes to headphone output, I guess. I never tested it, the Korean G6, so I can't say. But when Apple comes out with, the iPhone 8 and says the same song and dance about the lightning port, it's better for audio, but the LG V20 still stomps it, I'm not going to believe Apple anymore with that. I never believed them in the beginning, but I'm just not going to believe them. And the HTC is abandoning that too, which is another reason why I am not very keen on the HTC U11. I want it to be a great phone, and it might be a great phone, but I can't give up the headphone jack. My girlfriend didn't go to the iPhone 7 from the iPhone SE strictly because of the headphone jack. And when I told her that the headphone quality is slightly worse, she even said, well, I'm definitely not even going to try it now. From the iPhone SE to the iPhone 7, tell me that's not something. Tell me the headphone jack is not, valuable to people, and you would be wrong. What else? Now, obviously, this is a new thing. Now, this isn't necessarily valuable to me, honestly, but it's just more. You gotta have it. In this day and age, you have to have water resistance in your phone. You just have to. We'll see what LG does with the V30 if they find a way to make it water resistant, still have the removable battery and the IR blaster. I really hope they find a way. That would be nice. That would probably be the phone that just puts the V20 to shame. And I really hope they find a way. Not that I want to give away my V20. I don't, but I'm just saying. It would be a nice touch. USB Type-C obviously is another way. Obviously, the S7 didn't have it. The Note 7 came out with it. It had its time. I'm not going to talk about the Note 7. The S8 comes out now. It has it. USB Type-C is the way to go. And if people don't want to embrace that, then I don't know what to say. What else? Oh, yeah. Give me a second. All right, now I had to bring one more phone into the mix. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit hype right now. But it's just something that I really feel passionate about. And it's this little key right here. This key right here is very important to me. Now, what is this key? The two-phase camera shutter button. Now, obviously, my Nokia Lumia 1520 is out of commission right now. And I am going to get another one because I like this phone a lot. And since I can't get the freaking screen fixed, I have to do that. I really don't have a choice. But that's one thing that Sony is still keeping alive, thank God. And even Microsoft is keeping alive. I think Nokia is doing the same thing. I hope they are. But this is something I need because it's easier to hold your phone like this, no matter how big it is. Have a light tap on the camera shutter button to focus, and then press down and you take the picture, or press and hold it and you take a video. I can't tell you. I might give you guys a link in the description to a vlog I did on my other channel, which I recorded with this phone, and it was great. The amount of it's just the stabilization and the stability of just having this, keep staying in focus is just very nice. And it doesn't make no sense with all these phones having amazing cameras, especially with me, the V20 in particular. I kind of hope this would have been a camera shutter button. Look at it. It kind of looks like one, right? It would have made sense for them to have it. It's a content consumption and production device, right? Creation device, right? Why doesn't it have a camera shutter button? It doesn't make sense to me. Now I get it. You can press, you can press down on the fucking, on the volume button, and it'll record and stop your video. I get that, but I don't like that. It's not ergonomic to me. When my hand is already like this, why not have the camera shutter button right here so I can press it to focus and click it to take the picture, or click and hold it to take a video? That's the one thing I really enjoyed about the Sony Xperia XA. Despite the fact that it was a bit slow in that regard, it still had that, and it felt great. And I really hope next time around, with the V30 at the very least, LG puts a camera shutter button on this. These phones are plenty thick enough for it. Look at this. They even had a mod for the freaking G5. Well, let me get that. I'm not going to pause it since it's not far, but this right here, the LG Cam Plus. Now, I don't have a G5, but I still have this. Unfortunately, this died for some reason. I tried to charge it to try and make it so it could still work, but look, okay? It has the camera shutter button right there, right? You hear that? That's just the click from just doing that. You press it in and it'll take the picture. You press and hold it and it'll take a video. You zoom in with this. This was very nice. I liked this thing a lot. And I don't mean to bring the G5 friends into this, but it's just something that is very particular to me. I don't understand why all three of these phones have amazing cameras. This one does too, but all three of these phones have phenomenal cameras, right? Why isn't there a camera shutter button? Now you can argue on this that, oh, look at the thin side rail. Where would you put it? I'd get that. There's no argument for water resistance since there's buttons on the phone or on these phones already. So there's really no argument for that. Like, it's something that is it's particular, and I know it's nitpicky, but it's just I don't mean to go on about this. It's just it doesn't make any sense. I'm tired of, having to having to constantly tap to focus every time. You know how cumbersome that is on these big ass phones. You know how cumbersome that is. Even on the G6, which is a small phone, it's still pretty cumbersome. Because I have to like figure out where I want to focus and tap it, and it just doesn't feel right. Where I can just, lightly click right here to focus. And that's funny that my my G4 is doing it while I'm while I'm lightly tapping it to focus. That's really funny. The autofocus on the G4 is actually pretty nice. And then I take the picture like that. It's very nice. I love that. That's one of the reasons why I got this phone, actually. It's because of its camera and because of that single feature that feels so great to use. But yeah, I didn't mean to make this long. It's just with certain things, you got to realize certain things within each phone that I value, On the V20, it's the removable battery and, obviously the micro SD card, but everybody has that now. And the IR blaster, the DAC in here, I value. Everybody should do that. On the G6, I value the dual camera setup, which is also on here too, but them being on par with each other. I like that a lot. And pretty much on both of here, the water resistance on here. But even on here, it has the mil-spec 810G like this, and it can withstand weather. Probably a whole lot much. These two could probably stand like cold and hot conditions better than any other phone that I've used. Now, they're clearly not going to be unbreakable. They're clearly not going to be like, shatterproof and stuff like that. They're not going to be that. Just keep that in mind. But it's that reassurance. I live in Minnesota and it gets cold here. That reassurance that I don't have to care. I mean, not care, but I don't have to worry about my G6, the back of my G6 cracking in the winter or something, or doing something like that due to super cold temperatures, which I doubt it would even do that, but it's reassuring, and that's what I care about. But yeah. So I have a lot of things I care about. Software optimization, great cameras, screens as well. Great screens matter as well. The camera shutter button, which probably took the majority of the video. It was kind of stupid how long that took, but it's something that's needed again. Removable battery, IR blaster, enhanced water resistance, dual cameras in general, and just versatile camera software. Now, I'm going to condense this eventually, but it's just a lot of stuff that it just matters to me. And I'm sorry to sound very passionate about this. They're just phones, it's just technology, but I wouldn't make this channel if it was just, what's up, y'all, Smarty here, and I'm back with another review. This is the LG G7 with, the Snapdragon 868 I know it's not going to be that. I'm just talking shit. The Snapdragon 845 with 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of internal storage. Like, with a 20 megapixel camera, dual 20 megapixel cameras with f1.6 apertures. Like, that stuff just sounds boring. I'm tired of just spec wars. It just doesn't matter to me anymore. Everything is good enough. What matters is software. What matters is if the cameras are good. What matters is that the phone is reliable, battery life, stuff like that. And just like, simple things like the camera shutter button. Again, and just a decent front-facing, front-facing speaker array and stuff like that. Stereo speaker array, rather, and just a great headphone jack. But yeah, I'm not going to make this any longer, man. My G4 is surprisingly warm. So my G4 could do 25 minutes of continuous video without being super hot. It's warm, but it's not hot. This, not to bash the S7 again, I still love this phone, but this got super freaking hot. It can only record up to 10 minutes each. These both have 32 gigabytes of storage, mind you. This can only record 10 minutes each at 1080p 60 frames per second. This is still going continuously at 26 minutes and 40 seconds. And it's just, I don't know what it is. I don't care. I'm not going to talk shit. It's just, keep in mind, I still love this phone. I love all these phones. This is my favorite Windows phone of all time. And it's just that when it comes down to it, you guys, what do you guys want? Phone? What things do you guys want to come back? And this is just something that I thought about with the BlackBerry Key 1, honestly. And that it brought back its physical keyboard. And Samsung has their physical keyboard case type of thing, or slide up. There's the keyboard that you put on the bottom of your S7, S8, or even I think it had it on the S6 Edge. It has that physical keyboard. It has that. I've never tried it, but it doesn't look right. Whereas on the BlackBerry Key 1, it looks natural. There's a lot of things that the Key 1 does with that keyboard that's very useful. And while I really want to try that, while I really want to get that phone, I'm trying other things out. I'm going to try to see if I can get the S8. I'm going to try. Don't hold me to that, because the damn phone's expensive. I just want to, say that I'm trying. It takes time. I'm only 170 subscribers strong, right? And I appreciate every single one of you guys. And it's just that this isn't to come at any of these like tech reviewers, but I'm not Pocket Now. I'm not Unbox Therapy. I'm not MKBHD. I'm not even Flossie Carter, which he doesn't get review units and stuff like that, aside from like the couple that he has. He doesn't get paid. He made a video about it. I'm not going to defend him or anything. Nah, because that's on him to defend himself. He's a grown-ass man, right? But it's like, look, when it comes down to it, just remember, it's all a matter of opinion. You may not like a camera shutter button on your phone. You may not like removable batteries. You may not like any of that. But me personally, the V20 is still here because it still has the removable battery. It still has the IR blaster. And those things matter so much to the point where I can't even give up. Even if it just has a headphone jack, I can't give it up. And if, the Note 8 comes out and if it doesn't have a headphone jack, Samsung are a bunch of hypocrites for talking shit last year about Apple and taking out the headphone jack. And B, why does this feel like a podcast? And B, I don't think I'm going to get it. Because I don't care unless they have a hi-fi DAC in there. Unless they have a hi-fi DAC in there. And unless their headphones will work with any other USB Type-C device. Because HTC's headphones don't. And that's where I have a problem. But yeah, I'm not going to go much longer on this. I just want to talk about, let me know what you guys value in a phone. I know I made this very long. I didn't necessarily intend to make this very long, but I don't like going scripted because it doesn't feel natural. And I know a lot of people don't like super long videos, but I don't like having a filter. It makes me feel like a robot. And shit, I'm already reviewing mini freaking computers. Do I need to feel like a robot while doing it? But yeah, this is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Again, thanks to all 170 of you that have subscribed to the channel. And sorry for the long-winded, unstructured video. It's hard to be passionate when you have structure sometimes. And I know it sounds like I'm crying, but I'm not. It's hard to have structure. Nah, but it's just something that I just want to talk about and get off my chest. I intended to make this maybe like a 5 to 10 minute video, Christ. But it's whatever. This is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Again, thanks for the support. I can't say it enough. I'm sorry. Be sure to share this video if you like it. Dislike it if you don't like it. Do whatever you want. I'm not the boss of you. And have a good one. Have a good Friday, you guys.